sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...
Alright, here we go again. This is, unfortunately, this is take two because I read too far, believe it or not. I have a certain point that I'm supposed to stop at, and I didn't. So now it's because I did that for an extra 20 seconds, I have to do the thing all over again. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Scribbler, a Portal to Fiction. I'm your host, Ben Wustenberg, and I will be reading to you tonight from my novella, Cinderella and Her Sisters, which is actually a sequel and a half, or kind of, or whatever, to The Bashful Courtesan, which is the book that I put up. So, just so I can refresh what I did earlier, I gave some of you out there complimentary subscriptions to my behind my paywall thing. We're now calling it the Portal Club, and it has a membership. It's $30 a year. It's a secret handshake, all that stuff. It's really cool. And it is so the free complimentary passes are for 90 days, and I gave it to the readers who have 5 stars, because you get a little graph, and on the graph it has the name of your people that have subscribed, and they put stars, and you can see who opened it and who didn't open it, who's reading, who's not reading, and hey, I got a lot of subscriptions, but not a lot of you are reading. I get it. But the people that are reading, the people that open it and read it, it's like that's closer to 70%. So I'm very happy. I don't care what Substack says. They say, only 24% are reading it. They take the percentage of people that have opened it, and they divide that into, or they divide the amount of the 900 and whatever it is into that, so they get a different number. I just take the people that have opened it, the people that have and read it, and those are the numbers I use. So if I get 180 people opened it, and 320 of them received it or whatever, then I'm happy with those numbers. I don't expect all 900 people to be on here reading it, because I can't do that with the emails that I get, so how does anybody else? Oh yeah, forgive my attire. I was at the pub. I was having a lunch with the boys, the retirees. Yes, they're fun. They're always fun, because I'm young. They're all old. Yeah, okay. So, anyways, I'm going to, yes, I told you about the Portal Club, so I'm going to start reading to you from my novella, Cinderella and Her Sisters. Hopefully you've been listening to this. It is free after all. Can't complain about that. This will always be free. All my other stuff is going to be paid. I'm going to be doing readings. I'm going to be doing live stuff and all of that stuff. Everything that I do, it goes on videos and stuff. It's going to go behind the paywall. And you have to join. You have to join the club, the Portal Club. With membership, $30 for the year, or $10 a month if you just want to browse around and make up your mind after. It's like, really, come on, honestly, be serious. You've probably pissed more up against the wall. It's fine. Like $10 for the month. It's easy. Couple of glasses of beer and you're good. Well, at least at my house. I know some of you don't drink. It's like, whatever. No judging. I like to drink. Fine. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read it to you now, and hopefully I'll do a much better job than I did when I was doing it for the first time around, because I'm paying attention this time. I'm just going to go up ahead here and put this bold in black, bold, like thick and heavy, so that way when I get to the end, I'll know that I'm at the end, and that way I won't go farther than I did last time. I don't know if that made any sense. With eyes like that, why would I? Okay, here we go. George parks the automobile along the side of the road, pulling into the bushes as far as he can. They walk through the woods, holding hands like young lovers strolling through a park. The air is cool in the shade, but warm where the sun breaks through the shelter of leaves, bathing them in light. Their footsteps sink into a bed of pine needles and soft branches, the air sweet with a broth of old blossoms and dead leaves lying underfoot. George carries a blanket he's taken from the back seat of the automobile. Birds sing out a warning as they pass underneath, a gentle symphony that reminds George of his walks through the Vienna woods and of the long, far away ago. They find an unassuming rise that overlooks a small depression of land where the hills roll into each other and a small brook breaks over itself, spilling over silky rocks. There are large boulders strewn about as if they were cast there years before by playful forest gods, covered with a pastel sheen of old moss and gray lichen. There are aspens, birch, alder, pine, and oak trees growing nearby. The breeze whistles through the leaves as the branches sway back and forth, the woods humming in concerted melody. Some of the trees have fallen across the stream over the years, and they're covered with a mossy carpet of green underlay. George spreads the blanket under a large willow and looks at Annette with a sheepish smile. She sits down, her legs folded underneath her, and looks up at George for a moment before she invites him to sit beside her. For a moment, George wonders what she'll do if once the war's over and she's forced to return to Vienna. It's better not to think about that right now, he tells himself. She moves closer to George, and he puts his hand on hers. He picks it up and kisses her palm gently, then leans forward to kiss her cheek. She lays back on the blanket, and he sits above her, looking down at her, admiring her, running a gentle finger along her smooth jawbone and down her neck. Annette smiles up at him, reaches up to undo the buttons of her blouse, and he looks at her soft breasts, the nipples standing firm underneath the camisole, pinched with the excitement and chill of the air. They make love like lovers often do after a spat. They hold on to each other with a mounting desire, vowing never to let go of each other. Their kisses are longer and more intense, and their tongues snake around each other. She seems to arc her back just that much more as his kisses brush against her thighs like the delicate breath of a butterfly. He takes in her aroma and tastes her nectar. His hands stroke her, thrusting into her, and he rubs her softly. When he finally does enter her and pierces the very essence of her womanly being, he is gentle, with long, loving strokes, and she gasps at the pleasure of it. He rolls her over and lets her ride him beyond the brink of her transport, grinding herself on top of him erotically, like she is impaling herself, while his hands hold her breasts, and he watches the mounting depths of passion on her face and the fervor of her delight. Her eyelids flutter delicately, and he holds her up as she tries to collapse on top of him, exhausted. She moans, soft and subdued, spent, as he rolls her over again and forces himself into her, thinking only of himself and thrusting deeper as her moans grow louder again. She tries to push him off, but he thrusts harder, forcefully, and she screams in ecstasy while he holds her arms out so she looks splayed like a martyr, and finally explodes inside of her. Baltazzi is the first to get sick. He dies that evening, like he's lived the last few months of his life without even realizing he is dying. His breathing becomes labored and his fever impossible to control. The Countess frantically tries everything she can to bring the fever down. She sponges him with cold water, but feels the heat of the fever burning through the cloth she holds against him. She hears his rasping breath as he struggles, labors, and his lungs fill with fluid. As quickly as the fever comes, it breaks, and he is dead. His skin is an uncommonly dark pallor, his feet almost black, as he lays staring blankly at the ceiling. Annette is devastated by her father's death. Anastasia blames Novak. Maybe, she thinks, if she reels against him, she might drive him away. And she strikes him, knocking him to the ground. He accepts it because he believes her and holds himself responsible. They all believe her, but he knows there's little they can do. The only hope now is for quarantine, Novak says to George. They are outside on the landing, watching the stars and the pale moon that hangs low, looking wan and sickly behind a light mist of clouds that clings to the night sky like a memory. Novak has tobacco, and George gratefully rolls one cigarette and a second one, then asks for a third. It feels good to be smoking again, George thinks. He enjoys the taste of tobacco and has missed it. It's the only answer, Novak says at last. Quarantine won't do any one of us any good if we're already exposed to it, George points out. What do you mean? Annette's been exposed to it for weeks. She's been working at the hospital, taking whatever precautions they take. They all wear masks there now. Did you know that? Each and every one of them, doctors, nurses, and patients. She doesn't seem to have been infected, does she? I was only there for a week, 5 days to be exact. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many men died, he says with a shake of his head. You have to understand. You have to save the children. All of them. Do you know any place you can take them? I might, George says slowly. But we'd have to take food for them. The kids have to have milk and eggs. I'll take the goat and leave the cow here, and I'll take one of the chickens, too, with enough dried foodstuffs to last a couple of weeks. When can you leave, George asks. As soon as we get packed, George says. The place is hidden in a small valley, very secluded and with its own water nearby, but there's no place to leave the automobile. I'll drive them as close as I can, walk them in, and then bring the automobile back. That way I can walk the goats back and the chicken. You can take those in the automobile. Just take one goat. That works too, George smiles. Anastasia can drive you. It can drive you in as far as she can, and she can bring the automobile back. She might not want to do that, George points out. I don't care what she wants, Novak says, flipping his cigarette out into the near blackness, watching the tip as it dances in the night. This isn't about her. I'll go with you, and I don't care if you have to strap me to the roof. I'm going. I didn't walk all this way just to get here and lose my sons to something we might have prevented. If I lose them now, I won't be having any more. Doesn't that sort of defeat the purpose, George asked? Aren't you the reason for it all in the first place? Do you really think that, Novak asked. Doesn't matter what I think. Now you sound like Anastasia. She blames me for everything. I learned a long time ago that you can't blame others for circumstances you can't control. I watched men come into that hospital and get the same flu shot they gave me. Some of them died anyways. I didn't. I don't believe I'm a carrier. Then how did Baltazzi get it? How does anyone get sick? Maybe it's something in the air or something he ate. All I know is that if we isolate the kids, I'll sleep a lot easier. Then we'll do it tomorrow, George says. I don't think tomorrow will be a very good day, Novak says plainly. We'll have to bury Baltazzi first. I'll help you with the grave as much as I can, but I'm afraid I won't be much use to you. I don't think the Countess will appreciate burying him without a priest, though. Then send Colette to get one, George says simply. Colette? If she takes the automobile and follows the road, she'll come across the army eventually. There's bound to be a priest there somewhere. I know there's certainly one in the village. All she has to do is bring them back. What's so hard about that? Will she do it? She will if you go with her. Me? Unless you can drive with one leg. Well, there you go. I ended it properly this time. I stumbled a couple of times. I know. It's like, well, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. What can you say? I thought I did good. And, well, you know, what is that saying? You know what thought did? I never did know that one. And if you do know, tell me, okay? Because I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to, oops. I don't know what I just did. Okay, it's still there. Thought I lost it. I'm going to say goodbye, good night. It is 10 after 10 now. I started this at 22, I think, something like that. 10:41, I remember. That's pretty good. Oh, look at that. Now it's 10:11. Wow, that's half an hour. Pretty cool. I read it twice, so it's 15 minutes. There you go, 15:30 right now. Perfect size, perfect time. Okay, I'm gonna say ciao for now. Arrivederci. This is your host, Brent Wusterberg, signing off for Scribbler, a portal to fiction. And buy yourself a membership to the Portal Club. That's where all the cool kids hang out, because I'm there. What can I say? I'm sorry I didn't wear a tie. I got my scarf on. And I don't know why, but it's on. Whatever. Got my jacket on. It's a little small. I've gained a bit of weight since I've been retired. Don't tell anybody. I think my wife's noticed though. Yeah. So the jacket doesn't fit me anymore. I mean, I can't do it up. I could when I bought it. So whatever. Okay. Sorry, got sidetracked. Okay, this is your host. And this has been Cinderella and Her Sisters, read to you by the author Ben Wusterberg. And I am saying good night, ciao for now, and arrivederci. And this is where is it? There it is. Sorry, I'm looking for the cursor. It curses. Okay, this is your host signing off, and I'm saying ciao for now. See you next week. Same bat time and same bat channel.